The devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. And how do you do? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. And God loves you. Woo-hoo! The devil is a liar. Do you hear me? All God said was just wait on the Lord and I will work it out. And so, welcome to Edwina B. Perspective, Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, Alcoholics Anonymous Daily Reflection for March the 11th. Today, God said, wake up today and save one more of my children. Will you do that, Edwina? You doggone right, I will, Lord. And humbly, gladly, and joyfully. So, I tell you, there's nothing like peace, serenity in the midst of confusion. And the devil was trying this morning, but he did not win, as you can see, right? So let's get to the agenda for this day. And thank God for waking us up, you up this morning, for this day we'll never see again. So let's start with my testimonial song. This was one of my mother's favorite songs that she would have the choir sing at all the churches that she went to, because she went to a lot of churches, right? And I said, Lord, guess what? And I was able to sing this song to my mother before she died. Listen to the words. I was talking to a lady, all right, a few days ago. These are the words she said. If you see my child somewhere, Mama, mama, I'm home. Mama, I'm home, mama. I'm home. I'm home, mama. And so are you. Woo, to God be the glory. All right, so let me continue with some history with my mom. So I left y'all yesterday with my second sister, Deborah Jean Hall, who was not my father's biological daughter. And it was a secret in the family that obviously eventually came out, but there was those among them who knew what happened. And as a result, my father began to stage retaliation, revenge, and whatnot because of the situation and the circumstances, right? So when we talk about seeds being planted early on, they get revealed as time goes on. So my father came home from the army and saw that there was another little one. And he went back to the service, stayed a couple more years, and then he was able to come home that end of the second year after Deborah was like 2 years old. And guess what? Yes, my father and my mother got together, and voila, Edwina Clinton Hall. So my mother got pregnant with me. Daddy went off to the army again. And from Ruby, 4 years older than me, Deborah, 2 years older than me, and I come along right after that. And so my mother, bless her heart, she had a challenging pregnancy with me because of the secret, right? And I'm sure it bothered her and other people as well. And so she really, really focused on my dad. She really focused on what he might do, and feelings of this and feelings of that. I don't know, but here she's pregnant with me. And they say when a child comes out looking exactly like the father, I mean exactly like the father, ooh, mommy was definitely going through some feelings for me to come out looking exactly like my dad. Yes, so much so he wanted to name me Edward Clinton Hall. My mom said, no, I'll settle for Edwina, which was one of her friends' name, but he kept the name Clinton. So I am named after my dad, believe it or not. So, and guess what? This is the way he wore his hair. Isn't that something? But enough of that. So tomorrow I will continue with the story of now there was one, there was two, and now there was three, and that was me. All right. So now what I want to do is share with you a part of my journal entry that I've been sharing with you every day, and to also emphasize the need of keeping a journal. Listen, it has been valuable to me. And as you've been hearing some of the revelations that 32 years ago, when I wrote these journal entries for the first 4 years in my recovery, who would have ever thought that I'll be able to reflect on them today? But didn't have no idea that God was going to publish it in November of 2015. So here's my entry for May the 20th of 1990. I want you to listen carefully, but listen with your spirit. So it's the picture of the church that I belong to in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, right? My pastor. Yes, yes, yes. He was my pastor at Presbyterian Covenant Church, right? And so here's the entry. Woke up praying and meditating. I had to first rid myself of any anxiety, for I did not hear from my sponsor regarding the car. After calling her, I let her know it is necessary to call me to tell me her plans for the car or to return it after use at night. It was funny because I started out saying, I'm putting you on direction to return my car at night. Good orderly direction is our topic today, right? My car don't spend the night out. I don't know, but my sponsor is a giving and sincere person, always ready to give of herself. I feel our relationship is growing and I'm glad. After talking with her, I prepared for church. And oh, what a big day it is for me. I am joining the church today. It is always a good feeling going to church, knowing I am blessed for ending and beginning my week with God at the center of it all. I also am thrilled that some of my sisters are attending on a regular basis and that I am also able to bring a new sister each time, whom always are glad at the end that they went. It is a good feeling sharing the positive experiences with others. Had a sponsee meeting and dinner at my sponsor's house. It was interesting having that meeting with most of the girls, but it was suggested I don't work for my sponsor. I feel somewhat undecided just how I'm going to handle this situation. My primary purpose is to begin separating myself from my husband financially. Okay. So, again, when I think about this journal entry on May the 20th and attending the church, right? Reverend Pastor Behringer, right? Oh my God, he reminded me of Elvis Presley. I had to kind of refocus because he was so handsome, white too. But guess what? It was a beautiful experience to join a 99.9% white congregation. But thank God he is colorblind, and he led me and other sisters in the transitional house to an environment that was beautiful and real. And so I thank God I was able to join a church when I had February, March, April, May, 3 months in recovery at that time because I didn't like churches and I didn't like the people in them. And I got a story about this church and the pastor too. But for right now, back then, it was a glorious, glorious event to attend. Woo! Presbyterian Church, right? Okay, in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Now, I want to share with you, I believe, the last two steps of my presentation of my world tour, Free to Hope, from recovery, emerge empowered, to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. So enjoy, okay? And we will be back with the topic for today about the reflection reading, good orderly direction. If you don't believe in God, use the acronym good orderly direction, as I referenced in my journal entry on May the 20th of 1990.
You want somebody to say something, tell them to come to you for the answer. Yes. So you see why taking that continued personal inventory on a daily basis help you to not go back, to help you not refill that trash can, to help you continue to grow. Okay? A couple more minutes. What time is it? Okay, good. Recovery principle number 11. It says, sort through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, y'all. Look. It's your thing. It's your God. We just hope that it's loving and caring and provide discipline, provide tough love, you know? But why does it say to improve our conscious contact with God? Praying only for knowledge of his will and the power to carry it out. What decision did we make in step 3? Made a decision to do what? Turn our will and our life over to what? So in step 11, so he has brought us through 1 through 10. We've seen the rewards. Wouldn't you want to improve that relationship? Wouldn't you want to know more? Wouldn't you want to embrace that thing? Because it's helping you, it's making you grow. He's showing you, he's giving you power to withstand the questions or to accept the question, to not go over there, to resist the temptation, to acknowledge the triggers. Don't you want to improve that conscious contact? Yes. And guess what we're praying for? Knowledge of his will. And what? The power to carry it out. And guess what? You'll find out through these recovery process. Your will and God's will can align side by side. He has a destiny for you. You should want to know what that destiny is. If he gave it to you, then you should ask that power how to get there and the power to carry it out. I ain't trying to get into all that logic and all that BS. If the Creator gave you a destiny, a purpose, wouldn't it behoove you to improve that conscious contact with the one that gave that to you so that you can improve that relationship so that you and his will and your will can work in alignment to fulfill it? I would want that. Because over there, they was trying to give me another destiny and it wasn't theirs to give. You understand? I wasn't created for that. But he allowed me to go through that. And I'm going to choose you, to bring you out. So that I can use you and prepare you, not to just help you, but to help somebody else. Amen. Do you hear me? So why wouldn't I want to improve that relationship? When you talk to your children, don't you want them to keep coming back and being honest with you? Didn't you wish that you had that with your parents? Yes. My grandchildren can come to me. Yeah. I couldn't do it with my children, but my grandchildren, look, I tell it like it is. Yeah. I tell them the truth. Because I'm getting it from my God. If the truth is going to set me free, I need to give them the same information to help them be set free as they journey through their destination. Okay? Last one, I left it blank. It says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these recovery principles, we tried to carry what message? What message? What message? Your message? Your message? My message? What message? Those messages. Those recovery principles. That's the message. Do you hear me? Those are the messages. And each one get to apply their situation, circumstances, using the same recovery principles. That's the message. That all of us can heal to some extent using these 12 recovery principles. Regardless if you're dealing with cancer, domestic violence, substance abuse, suicide attempts, rape, molestation, right? And then it says to practice these principles where? In all our affairs. So if we are the 5% and we're going outside to the 95% of the world, do we need to practice these 12 spiritual recovery principles with this 95? Yes.
With the whole armor.
Hey!
That's the whole armor.
So this is another way of saying, putting the whole armor of recovery on. Huh? Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so having had a spiritual awakening, this is just a vehicle, y'all, remember? What spiritual principles are going to come through you now? opposed to the principle, opposed to the spirit of jealousy, envy, manipulation, selfishness. Those are all spirits that goes through this vessel. Or do I want to practice the spirit of forgiveness, of selflessness, and helping somebody else? Fruit of the spirits, yes. Huh? That's what I want to go. That's where I want to attain to. Okay? So that's the 12 recovery principles that I wanted to offer to you, and you, and to the world.
Thank you.
I'm glad I was able to answer some questions along the way. It's 4:30 now, am I correct?
Yeah.
So are there any last minute questions, any statements, any input? Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that this is part of the 12-12 program and it's out of Wilmington, Delaware area. Do they have a 12-12 program anywhere else in Delaware?
So what you're saying is the safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
They do have other safe havens. Yes. They do.
How do you find them?
You will call the AA hotline, the NA hotline, the Overeaters Anonymous hotline.
I know of Overcomers.
Yeah.
Overcomers.
So there are some other recovery safe havens.
Those are the same type of. When you look at Overcomers programs, that's the same type of. I know they use the same 12
Right.
principles. So it's just not 12-12. It could be any of those.
Exactly. Any of
Okay,
those.
because I know
Yes.
in Dover they have Overcomers.
Yes. But the main thing is that you are putting yourself around positive people who are doing the same thing you are, trying to accomplish and overcome the same thing you're coming on. So put yourself around same-minded people, opposed to what we were doing over here. In order to reach our destiny, these are the ones who are going to help get to our destiny using these 12 recovery principles. Yes. Any other questions or statements or comments? So let's go around the room real quick and say, what did you get out of this? Let's start with you.
I got a lot out of it. I got that I shouldn't ask any questions. I got that just take self-evaluation of yourself each and every day, and just try to be truthful to myself. More important, and be honest.
Everyone has a story, and I really believe that it's important for people to share their stories because through your stories you help others. And I thank you for taking the time to do that because I believe that we tend to keep things and not share. And where we are today is not where we were 15 years ago. And sometimes people see where you are now and they go, oh, wow. But if you tell your story, they realize they can come through it too. And the journey is all things work together for good. You just have to believe and then go through that process.
And you have to face everything and recover.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What about you? What did you get out of this whole process? Yes.
I can relate to a whole lot of things that you said. And I had a gambling problem, and I went to gambling to Anonymous. We went through the 12 steps, but I couldn't stay in the class. I kept going to the counselor, but the class was like, most of the people were still having the problem. And so I signed myself as a long Delaware gambler, but I had to stop gambling. And I see some of the things that I need to do to get the trash out.
Thank you. What about you, young lady?
I fear I need to work on standing up for myself. Pretty much based off, like a lot you said, I see a lot of hurt and pain, and I try to protect. When I was trying to protect, I got in trouble for protecting.
Thank you. What about you?
Hi, I'm familiar with the 12 steps and the recovery program. I truly believe, and for myself, that everyone not taking anybody's inventory, but everyone is recovering from something. And we, if we follow the principles, if we follow the steps, we can only, in an honest way, and apply them to ourselves, we can recover from whatever it is that we identify to be that problem that to where we are powerless over. And we can only mature one day at a time.
One day at a time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, Joseph?
I liked, when we walked in, I think you were talking something about, I guess first step or so, or one of those steps, a comparison between what's wrong with us or what happened to us. And I like that approach. I've done a lot of stuff kind of based on what's wrong with us, But what happened to us, I don't think we do enough of. I think that me and many of us are going through a great deal of abuse, trauma, and it has left a great deal of scars. And it's taken a lifetime to unravel some of that stuff, that onion you talked about, that has to be peeled constantly. So this is a lifetime work, and I think that I need to be mindful. I often say this to a lot of people I work with, that there's really no graduation out of this process. You don't do this stuff 10, 5 years and 15 years and think you graduated because you learn a little bit of something. It's a lifetime process.
Yes, it is.
And I guess the other thing that came to my mind was, I guess the stuff about the kids, I have kids and they're doing reasonably well, but some of them are still hurting, And I guess sometimes I kind of feel guilt and shame, like, am I doing enough? Can I do more? I have to kind of at some point get to the place where I'm doing the best I can. And I need not keep walking around feeling guilty. I need to live my best life. And my best life is not to do the stuff I did before.
Exactly.
And to move on forward.
Exactly.
Trust God.
Sometimes even though, if you don't mind me saying, sometimes, your
want my
children
kids? You
know.
want my kids?
your children know that you're trying and you're doing better, but they try to guilt you too and to make you feel better. As long as you know that you're, like Edwina said, you're putting your foot forward and you're doing the best that you can do and you apologize, you can't do no more than that.
And see, you also, recognize when I did that inventory, I told you about the resentments I had against my
Exactly.
people, right? And how I became manipulative. And so in order to make my mom feel guilty, I would say, if you didn't do this and do that, trying to make her feel guilty. But at the end of the day, I had to forgive my mother. I had to forgive my dad, right? Not for them, but for me, because I was wrong, because it wasn't until I went back and asked them, what happened to you, mommy? What happened to you, daddy, to make you that way? What happened? Because recovery taught me, try to understand than to be understood.
Right.
So that I can get rid of that resentment. That was only keeping me sick, not nobody else. What did you get out of this session?
I enjoyed all of it, but the most important to me was the onion, and for me was that I know in my recovery for my mental health, I always go to a certain time, but it wasn't until you had the ages, and I didn't realize until sitting in the chair, I didn't go all the way back 5 years old, and I realized at 5 years old, wow, there were some things going on there at 5 years old. So that was powerful for me. I am a certified recovery coach, and so I speak with people every day. But that has helped me greatly, just for me.
Good. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's what I learned from this session is that it doesn't matter what you say negative thoughts do. It's not easy to just let
good. And it's not. And that's why we have help available to help you practice letting it go. Okay. Chase time.
To the young lady in the front, listening is very important.
May I have your attention, please? The team loft will be closing in 5 minutes. The second floor in the Capitol.
Okay. Oh, wow. Listen, I tell you, boy, I always say this. If I didn't know that was me, I would say, who that lady? You know what I mean? To God be the glory, y'all. I tell you, man, this recovery thing is awesome. Wait a minute. Let me get this thing set up here. And I just thank God that I'm able to share with you all my experience, my strength, and my hope. And that was what I did in February/March of 2020 on my world tour. So we have a few minutes to divulge into the reading for today. Alcoholics Anonymous, March 11th, Daily Reflections reading. Good orderly direction can be an acronym applied to God. And so I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but I've been a proud, grateful, and humble member for 32 plus years. So let's get right into the topic of today. All right, let's read it together. All right, and we'll go from there. Here we go. Let's move some of this stuff out of here. All right, it says here, March the 11th, AA Daily Reflections. Good orderly direction. It is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. To all of us, this was a most wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us. To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. This is from 12 and 12, page 40. And the person in recovery writes, all I have to do is look back at my past to see where my self-will has led me. I just don't know what's best for me, and I believe my higher power does. God, which I define as good orderly direction, has never let me down, but I have let myself down quite often. Using my self-will in a situation usually has the same result as forcing the wrong piece into a jigsaw puzzle: exhaustion and frustration. Step 3 opens the door to the rest of the program. When I ask God for guidance, I know that whatever happens is the best possible situation. Things are exactly as they are supposed to be, even if they aren't what I want or expect. God does do for me what I cannot do for myself if I let him. Woo, woo. All right, so now y'all know that I always decipher these words, right? And so let's go right to it, because I got started a little bit late, but that's okay. So when we talk about good orderly direction, the acronym for God, for those who don't believe in God, those who have a problem with God, those who, for whatever reason can't get past the God thing. And so what happens is, let me turn this down a little bit. What happens, oh my God, that's even worse. What happens is thank you, Lord. All right, it's the spirit upon me. Listen, light me up, okay? So what happens is we get into a situation where we don't want to believe in God. We're defiant. But when we come into recovery, we are at the point of no return. Either we're going all the way or we're not going, all right? And so the other beautiful thing about recovery is that when we get to step 3, it tells us, let me do this. It tells us, right, that we have to learn how to put all our, oh, it's natural, huh? We have to put all of our situations into practice and recognize that it is the God of our understanding that has allowed us to be where we are, even though we don't know. And so good orderly direction can be used to substitute for God and God all by himself until such time the recovery process allows you to identify the God of your understanding, okay? So then it says, it is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. And so let's talk about that. Now, let's say you got two people putting a project together, right? And both of them are strong-willed and everything else, right? And so when the two of them get together, right? And so you can see from the very start who's going to have the dominant personality or who's going to be the one that is right, submissive, right? But think about it. If we work together, if we align our will with each other's will, if we read the directions together, if we work together, we can accomplish the goal, right? Now, so what often happens in life, one wants to go that way, one wants to try this way, and there's no alignment. So you got that? All right, that makes sense to me. So all our lives, we've been doing our will, not even thinking about God's will, okay? Don't even probably know what it is, right? It goes on to say, to all of us, this was a most wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower, huh? The misuse of willpower. All our troubles was the misuse of willpower. All right, come on now. Come on. I might have to finish this tomorrow because I got to go to my meeting, right? But it says here, at least the first part, we had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us. So just like that project of the two people working together, the intention was to get the product done and have a finished product, right? But because we were not aligned and we were not working in harmony, right? And so one wanted to bombard the other, nothing happened. And so that created all the problems for both of them, really, because you didn't have a finished product, right? So to make this increasingly possible, to come into agreement with God's intentions for us. So step 3 is the step that does that. It says here, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, good orderly direction, a power greater than ourselves as we understand him, right? Made a decision. We see what our will brought us and where it got me underneath that parked car 32 years ago. And when I hollered out to a God that I didn't know to take me out this life or show me a better way, I was put on a path of good orderly direction unknowingly to me. All right. All right. And so let's see. All I have to do is look back at my past to see where my self-will has led me. All right. Remember, I told you when I was in that rehab, the team asked me to share my pattern every time I picked up a drink or a drug. So I was able to go back in my past, even before I started drinking, where those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors was first formulated. Like I said in the presentation, I no longer felt that something was wrong with me. I needed to find out what happened to me, but that took a process too. Okay. And then it says here, right? I just don't know what's best for me. And I believe my higher power does. Okay. And even if you don't recognize a God, but I believe those people in that rehab was going to help me. I believe that being around other recovering alcoholics and drug addicts was going to help me. I believe that I just don't drink one day at a time. I'll stay sober. I believe. I believe. And believing is not new to us because I believe that drug dealer was going to give me crack and not drywall. I believe that bartender was going to give me real liquor and not watered down liquor. I believe that John was going to pay me as a prostitute and not jerk me off my money. I believe. Now I'm believing in things that can restore me to soundness of mind. Ooh, I tell you, I listen. Oh, all right, where am I? It says, I define God, which I define as good orderly direction, has never let me down, but I have let myself down quite often. And so now being on this path of recovery, I can see how much progress I'm making, right? And now all of a sudden, I want to take the wheel back, and I want to do my thing and do my will. And guess what? Every time I let myself down. So I needed to turn that wheel right back over again to the God of my understanding, all right? It also says here, using my self-will in a situation usually has the same result as forcing the wrong piece into a jigsaw puzzle, exhaustion and frustration. So do you understand when you look at our past, the decisions and choices that we made, we were trying to force our will in any and everything, right? And it created all exhaustion and frustration to the point where, F it, I'm a drink, F it, I'm a drug, F it, I'm a prostitute, F it, F it, F it. What? Oh, why? Because we're trying to force something that doesn't fit. And it's not our will that we need to continue to do, but seek God's will. All right. Then it says here, step 3 opens the door to the rest of the program. So steps 1, 2, and 3 says, I can't, right? Step number 1. Step number 2 says, he can. Step number 3 says, I'll make a decision to let him. And so that's what it means by when I had that concept down, I can, he can, I'll make a decision to let him. That's what it means by, right? Step 3 opens the door to the rest of the program. So when I ask God for guidance, I know that whatever happens is the best possible situation. Things are exactly as they are supposed to be, even if they aren't what I want or expect. Oh my God. You talking about something challenging, but we need to be challenged. Yes. Because we see where our self-will got us. We see where our best thinking placed us. So why not practice these spiritual principles? Why not learn about these spiritual principles? Why not analyze, embrace, right? Evaluate these spiritual principles so that even though what may happen is supposed to happen, because number 1, I'm not drinking, I'm not prostituting, I'm not drugging, I am an atmosphere of recovery, and I desire to change. Woo! Okay, I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go. All right. And the last thing it says, supposed to be, even if they aren't what I want, God does do for me what I cannot do for myself if I let him. Oh my God. Do y'all think I want to be on this platform telling you about I was a prostitute, telling you about, being raped, telling you about having an abortion? I consider that murder. Do you think that Edwina will want to reveal all of that? Oh, yes, I do. Because Edwina is just the vehicle. What is the spirit of Edwina that's being manifested through this physical body? As Donald Lawrence says, and I'll close. We are not a natural being having a spiritual experience. We are a spiritual being walking and encased in this natural experience called earth and life. All right? So I got to go, y'all. It's time for me to go to my meeting. If nobody told y'all they love you today, put on your mask. That means I love you. Get vaccinated. That means I love you. Get your booster shot. That means I love you. Social distancing. That means I love you. In other words, follow good, orderly direction. All right? I love you. You love me. We are one big family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? I love you. And if it's God's will that we are reunited tomorrow, I'll be here and I hope you will be too. But today, be glad in it and rejoice in it and help save one more of God's children because he's waiting for his child to come home. Oh, Lord, I love you so